The impossible decision. In 1914, Ernest Shackleton and his crew sailed toward Antarctica on a ship called the Endurance. Their goal was extremely ambitious. They wanted to cross the Antarctic continent on foot. But things went wrong very quickly. The Endurance became trapped in the ice. The crew waited for months, hoping that the ice would release the ship. Instead, the pressure became stronger and stronger. Eventually, they had to rule out the possibility of continuing with the original plan. The ship was badly damaged, and the men had to abandon it. Now Shackleton faced a difficult decision. He was torn between several possibilities. Should they stay near the ship and wait for help? Should they try to walk across the ice? Or should they take their small lifeboats and try to reach land? He had to weigh the pros and cons carefully. Staying where they were was safer for the moment, but there was no guarantee that anyone would find them. Trying to cross the ice was extremely dangerous. And traveling by boat through freezing Antarctic waters seemed almost impossible. Shackleton eventually made up his mind. They would take the lifeboats and try to reach Elephant Island. The journey was terrifying. They spent days in freezing water, with almost no protection from the cold. When they finally reached Elephant Island, they were safe from the ocean, but they were still stranded in one of the most isolated places on Earth. Shackleton knew there was no point in waiting for someone to rescue them. Nobody even knew exactly where they were. So he decided to go with another risky plan. He chose 5 men to accompany him in one of the small lifeboats. They would sail more than 800 miles across some of the most dangerous seas in the world to South Georgia, where there was a whaling station. It sounded crazy. But Shackleton believed they would be better off taking a huge risk than simply waiting to die on the island. The journey took 17 days. They survived enormous waves, freezing temperatures, and terrible conditions. When they finally reached South Georgia, they still had another problem. They had landed on the wrong side of the island. Shackleton and 2 other men had to cross the island on foot. After an exhausting journey, they finally reached the whaling station. But Shackleton didn't stop there. In the long run, his goal wasn't simply to save himself. He had promised the rest of his crew that he would come back for them, and he did. After several attempts, Shackleton finally returned to Elephant Island and rescued every single member of his crew. Not one of the 28 men died. ***. The expedition had completely failed in its original objective. They never crossed Antarctica. But in the end, Shackleton's decisions turned a disastrous expedition into one of the most famous survival stories in history. Sometimes, being successful isn't about achieving the plan you started with. It's about knowing when to rule out the original plan, weigh the pros and cons, make up your mind, and go with the option that gives you the best chance of surviving in the long run.